Welcome back to my top 10 series. Today we'll look at what I think are the 10 best lands to visit while in Disney World. So whether your Disney vice is food, shopping, or attractions, I'll have you covered on the things to do while in these lands. But before we get started, I just want to let you know that I have a Patreon with the link in the description. So if you enjoy my channel and like to help it grow, consider joining. But without further ado, let's see our number 10 entry on this list. Main Street, USA, the beginning and end to most Disney trips. I almost didn't put this on the list because there's no real attractions here, but it's the first thing most newcomers see. And it could be a life-changing moment for people who have only seen the parks through videos and pictures. It's home to almost countless shops and filled to the brim with souvenirs and food. There's also many Easter eggs if you look hard enough, like the names on the windows in the shops are credits for people who built Disney World. Or the lampposts change from gas lanterns to electric posts to symbolize walking through time. But where else can you get the best ice cream or the worst ice cream you've ever had, depending on the day you get it? If you watch my channel for any period of time, you'll know that I'm not the biggest fan of Animal Kingdom. For a park as big as this is, there doesn't seem to be much to do. But what it lacks in attractions, it sure makes up for in beauty. Animal Kingdom may be the best park aesthetically, with its flowing rivers and wildlife scattered across each sightline. I feel the Asia section fully encompasses how truly beautiful this park really is. You could get soaked on Kali River Rapids, or you could ride the best Disney coaster ever made in Expedition Everest. It's also home to 8 different places to eat. So depending on your appetite, you could get something quick at the Thirst River Bar and Trek Snacks, or have a sit-down meal at the Yak and Yeti. But if food and rides aren't your thing, Asia is also home to 3 different places to shop. So you could bring home a souvenir so you don't get yelled at when you get home. I used to think the brown streak on the ground in Liberty Square being poo was a joke, but it's actually real. It's supposed to symbolize the lack of indoor plumbing in the 16th century, so people would just empty their chamber pots out in the middle of the street. Technically, there's no bathroom in this land either. The bathroom in the Columbia Harbor House is considered on the Fantasyland border. So they took the theming of this land to a whole nother level. But this area is pretty much carried by the Haunted Mansion. The opening of Memento Mori certainly helped us Mansion fans get our merch fix. Our family tradition is to always eat at the Columbia Harbor House every trip. But there are other places to eat here, but to my knowledge it's either a buffet or a place to get a funnel cake. It's also home to the Hall of Presidents, but hearing people cheer and boo animatronics isn't what I came to Disney for. The former East Wing of Future World in Epcot? Or is it West Wing? I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic. I don't know which direction is which. The now World Nature is home to some of the greatest Disney attractions ever made. Even with major changes, its roster of rides is still impressive. Say what you will about Journey into Imagination with Figment, but every other ride here featured ranges from solid to great. Although I can't speak on the Journey of Water inspired by Moana since as of this recording I haven't experienced it yet. You can easily spend hours trying to do everything there is to do in this land, with the aquarium, dark ride, and restaurant of the Seas Pavilion. And Living with the Land, Soarin', and 2 places to eat in the Land Pavilion. Few other lands offer the variety of things to do while in World Nature. And with the pools of water and jumping fountains, it's certainly in the discussion for which land has the best sights. While making this list, I was sure Adventureland would be in the top 3. Turns out, it wasn't even in the top 5. Pirates of the Caribbean is 90% the reason to come to this land. The Jungle Cruise is still a classic, I guess, but if you watch my short on that attraction, you know I have major issues with that ride. The Enchanted Tiki Room and Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse are both better than I remember being as a kid, but not good enough for me to make time for them on each trip. The Skipper Canteen has good food, I think, but I remember the menu always changing drastically and the food being hit or miss. But if you're a Disney nerd like I am, you go to this restaurant for the lore rather than the food itself. but Adventureland is home to the King of Kings, the Dole Whip. The highlight to any Disney trip, this ice cream fruit float thing is really what dreams are made of. Although the place you buy them at is right in the middle of the smoking section. I guess we can't have everything. Tomorrowland is one of the most densely packed areas in all of Magic Kingdom, but does it make it good? I guess it depends on who you ask. You could spend hours just going in all the rides that are here. Space Mountain and Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spins certainly have their fans. And now with the opening of Tron Light Cycle Run, it pretty much solidifies its status as top 5. But most people will probably just ride those 3 and leave. The People Mover, Carousel of Progress, and even Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor are all underrated in my opinion, but the Astro Orbiter and Tomorrowland Speedway you could take or leave. You could also go to the Merchant of Venus gift shop to get some more souvenirs. But real fans know the real reason to go to Tomorrowland is to be serenaded by everyone's favorite alien, Sunny Eclipse. But other than cosmic rays and the lunching pad, there's not much here in terms of food. So if burgers and fries aren't your thing, maybe go to another land to get your fix. I may get some heat for putting Frontierland over Tomorrowland, but for the sake of my list, I'll stand by it. I feel this land has a quality over quantity aspect to it. Everything here is pretty much a must-do. Thunder Mountain probably has the most manageable wait time of any of the Disney coasters, and I'm sure once I go on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, I'll love that attraction too. And surprisingly enough, the railroad stop here in Frontierland is a great time as well. Heck, you might even find a bear at Tom Sawyer Island. But speaking of bears, the Country Bear Jamboree just really isn't for me. As far as food goes, you could get some Tex-Mex at Pecos Bill's, or is it Tortuga Tavern? But either way, that's about it for food, besides some kiosks or stands. Just like Tomorrowland, there's so many things to do while you're in Fantasyland. So let's start with the things I always make time for while you're here. First off, don't get scared off by the wait time for Peter Pan's flight, and make sure you ride it. Other than the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, there aren't many attractions you should go out of your way to get on. Just make sure to bring a Tylenol because that queue gets really loud really fast. And if it says 25 minutes, be prepared to wait 50. It's a Small World gets a bad rap because of the music, but it's still a classic and a good place to cool off for about 15 minutes. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Journey of the Little Mermaid are just whatever, but if those are your favorite movies, I get it. It's just not worth the wait time in my opinion. I just named 5 attractions and we haven't even mentioned the Storybook Circus, the land within a land. I can't say I spend a lot of time here, but if you have kids, it might be worth the time to check it out. And speaking of time, let's hit the next entry. Back when I heard Pandora was being built in Animal Kingdom, to say I was skeptical would be an understatement. Opening an entire land to a movie franchise that didn't have a full release in 8 years was more than a head scratcher. I remember coming here in 2017 during Extra Magic Hours, and seeing this land at night immediately changed my mind. It's amazing to see how all the colors popped while walking around in the darkness. And their usage of audio and visual effects are nothing short of amazing. It may not have as much to do as other lands, but Flight of Passage is really good if you could overlook the fact that it's just a glorified 4D movie. Three River Journey is a bit underwhelming, but it's the best looking ride in Disney in my opinion. And finally, the Santulli Canteen is one of the best quick service restaurants that you could find. I always find myself eating at this restaurant whenever I'm in Animal Kingdom. If I were to go through everything there is to do in this land, we'd be here for at least 2 hours. With 11 pavilions, 12 if you count the African Hydration Station, all wrapped around the 1.2-mile circle with the picturesque World Showcase Lagoon in the middle. This land is also home to some of the best sit-down restaurants in all of Disney. You could get a great steak at Le Cellier in Canada, or just grab some Chinese takeout at the Seven Dragons. You also have 3 amazing rides in Mexico, Norway, and France. Just be prepared to walk if you want to hit up all 3. But my personal favorite time to go is the Food and Wine Festival. The little kiosks are a great way to try a large variety of food for usually a smaller price. And of course, there's the fireworks. Not really my thing, but if you enjoy the parades, you should definitely make time for Luminous. But that'll do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed what I think are the 10 best lands to visit while in Disney World, but let me know what other lands you would include as well. So until next time, drop a like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if I earned it, join the Patreon only if you can, and thank you for watching.